share my screen? And please let me know once you can see my screen.
Yeah, it's visible now.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for joining. And I can see a lot of my previous friends in different workshops, so it's really glad to have you here. So today is our first GRC analyst training. And my name is Mohammed Atif, and I believe, a lot of you, we worked together in different programs before, and I will be the one who delivers this program for you guys. And we usually do this workshop in a different way, not in a traditional training way, but more as something realistic and try to align the skills with whatever is needed in the market. So let me take the session today to explain what is the GRC analyst position and how we're going to do it, and what will be the platforms that you're going to use to practice the skills for the GRC analyst. The GRC analyst is one of the non-technical cybersecurity positions. It's very suitable for people who want to gain some skills, but they don't want to depend on any technical skills. That's why in the job descriptions that I will show you right now, you will not find any technical requirement. You will not find any specific technical skills needed for this program, which make it easier for people who want to join the field, but they are not ready to get some technical knowledge or technical background. However, it doesn't mean that this is an easy position, or it's a position that doesn't have a critical responsibility. It's very, very critical. And if you decide to build skills to become a GRC analyst, you need to understand that you have a very, very critical responsibility in any organization. Because mainly the GRC analyst is the one who makes sure that the company or the organization are complied with any standard or regulation or even legal requirement. Guys, if you don't mind, can someone take care of the admission, please? Okay. So, for example, if you are working in UK or in Europe, the GRC analyst is the one who makes sure that all the standard or GDPR or any compliance that you are following are fulfilled in your organization. So if you fail to do your work correctly, you will end up getting your organization into fines and legal issue and a lot of problems, financial and legally. So not because you don't have to learn technical skills that this responsibility is operational or it's not a critical one, it's very, very critical. And usually whenever I deliver this kind of program, I prefer to do it based on a job description. This makes things clear for everyone that this is what you're going to learn and this is what you need to end up writing in your CV. So this job description you will find in the share folders that I will create for you. But this will be our way to measure what are we learning and where did we reach, okay? So GRC, which is governance, risk, and compliance analyst, mainly depend on three different elements. Okay, this is what we will learn in the programs that we will take. The first one is the governance area. So you will learn how to design and implement a governance framework for any organization. Okay. Now, governance is a very, very important topic, and it's something that is implemented in any standard and compliance right now. What is governance in the first place? What does it mean? Because there is different terminology here. We have information security governance, we have data governance, we have IT governance. What is the concept of governance in the first place? Governance is more to make the information security support the strategic objective of the organization. What does it mean? When you work inside an organization, for example, okay, and you start identifying the information inside the organization, and you start identifying what are the risks related to this information, and you start implementing proper control to mitigate this risk, what will be the results of that? This will make people trust your organization. It will raise the trust in your entity. You're going to prevent your organization from getting into any legal problems or any financial problem. This is definitely a strategic objective for your organization. Okay, but if you do the opposite, you don't really identify the information asset of the organization. You don't really deal with the risk that this organization may have, and you end up having a problem, data leakage or data stolen, or your company get compromised. What will be the results? The results will be you will have legal issue to your company. People will lose trust in your organization. You may have your company are not complying with this regulation and legal requirement. Legal cases will be raised against you. You will have a lot of problem to your organization because you are not utilizing the information security to align with the strategic objective of the organization. I know it's quite generic right now, but I will show you step by step how we are doing that in organization, how we do implement this in organization. We will go through the job description today, step by step. But I'm just giving you an idea about your main responsibility. First responsibility, you need to understand how can we implement governance in any organization from A to Z. Okay, realistically, and I'm going to tell you how we're going to do that realistically in a few minutes. Second part, and this will be the core of our training. I mean, most of the session will be about the second part, which is the risk management. Okay, you need to learn during this program how you should conduct risk in any organization. Now, I want here to distinguish between risk management and risk assessment. Okay, you are only responsible for risk assessment. You need to learn how can I identify risk in any organization. Okay, you don't do the risk management framework. It's not a part of the GRC analyst. But when you get hired somewhere, you check the risk management policies they follow, and you need to learn how are we conducting risk assessment in any organization. Okay, and honestly speaking, if we're going to give effort to this program, I will say 70% of the effort you do in this training, give it to risk assessment, because governance is very straightforward. It's not as complicated as you may expect. Very, very straightforward. Compliance, very straightforward. Audit, very easy to conduct. You will learn that very easy. But the core skills of any GRC analyst is the risk part. You know how to conduct a proper risk assessment or not. And the third part that we will learn will be the audit part. Once we learn how to implement governance and compliance, once we learn how to conduct risk assessment, you're going to need to learn how should we audit or how we conduct an audit, information security audit in any organization. Those are the three skills that you will learn in this program. And those are more than enough to build a career in cybersecurity, as a GRC analyst. Keeping in mind that you don't need to have any technical background. Of course, having a technical background will be an added value. It will expand your knowledge. It will give you a better visibility. But without an IT background, you still can apply, can work on this position. So this is what we're going to learn in this program, and we're going to go through them in a job description, and then I will answer all your questions, and then I will show you how we're going to do the practical assignment of this activity. Okay. So first of all, the program will be 10 sessions. Okay. And maybe the first 2 weeks, it will not be continuously because there is a conflict between the session. I will explain the schedule before we finish the session today, but you need to understand that this will be a 10 session program. And the session or the program will be based on the job description. Okay. So I want you to read this job description. Guys, if you don't mind, if you don't have any questions, that just mute your mic, please. Thank you. So this is a real job description that we were searching for GRC analyst. And I want you to go through it because once you finish, whatever we have in the job description, it should be written in your CV. Okay. So what exactly are we going to learn here? Okay. The first thing, as I mentioned, this is the core skills that you need to learn. How to conduct a risk assessment. You will learn how to conduct a risk assessment, and you're going to do that maybe 3 or 4 times. This is, as you can see, is the first prerequisite, first responsibility for any GRC analyst. So you have to take your time. You have to do a lot of effort. And actually, I will combine you in groups so you can be working together. But if you learn all the skills here and you skip this one, it doesn't work. Risk assessment, it's one of your main responsibility. But as I mentioned, the risk management is not. You just need to be specifically skilled in conducting a risk assessment. Second part will be on how to develop and implement an information security governance. Okay. A lot of people know about governance, except they don't know how to implement it in an organization. If I get hired somewhere and they ask me, to build for them a governance framework, how can I do that? What are the documentations that I will use? From where should I start? Because some people think about governance, it's to create a policy. No, no, no. Policy is part of the governance. But governance, it's a big framework. It has role and responsibility. It has policy, procedures, KPIs. How can we do that in an organization? I will give you a step-by-step guide on how to conduct that from A to Z, but it will be based on real scenarios because it doesn't work in a way that I will explain it as main definitions. No, you have to take the concept and see, okay, give me use cases where I can implement that in a real use case. This is the only way you can learn how to implement the governance framework. Sorry, guys. Okay, so this is the second skills that you need to learn in this program. And I keep repeating, realistically. Is someone taking care of the admission, guys?
I do, Doctor.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, Samir is here as well, it's good. So the second skills will be the governance skills, okay? The third skills will be the audit part. Now, as part of our responsibilities related to compliance, okay? So we are making sure that, we are following the compliance and all the compliance requirement is implemented. Things such as ISO or GDPR or HIPAA or any compliance, you are responsible to make sure that the compliance is followed. And how can I make sure that the compliance is followed? By conducting audit. So one of the things that you need to write down in your CV that I know how to conduct an audit. The audit is a very organized process. It's done according to plan. A lot of people think about audit in a different way. They think that audit is to go like without any plan, surprising any department, asking to see evidence like an inspection. It's not like that. Audit is very organized. When we conduct an audit, we have a plan. We send the plan, we ask for requirement, and then we go on date. We stick with what we requested. We don't ask for anything that was not in the audit scope. You need to know how to do that. Okay. And in this part, I will teach you two different kinds of audit: business audit and technical audit. Okay. If you felt comfortable with technical audit, it's fine. But if you felt that the technical background is a barrier, you can specifically be in the business audit or in the functional audit, because this is quite normal, by the way. You know, sometimes when we go audit for an organization, someone is doing the business audit and I will do the technical audit. So not necessarily that you need to learn both of them, but at least you need to be very comfortable with the business audit. How do we conduct audit in an organization? But I will teach you that both of them in any way, because this is what will be the skills that you have. And I will share with you all the documentation that you need for this audit. Other requirement related to dealing with other department and so on, it's not really, I mean, something that you can read and you will understand what we are working, how it's done. But those three functions, if you end up this program without learning them, you cannot say that I'm a GRC analyst. So you will learn risk assessment, designing and implementing framework governance, and audit, how to conduct information security audit. Those are the main skills that you need to have, and write them in CV to be able to say that I can work as a GRC analyst. Okay. Now, the good thing about the GRC analyst is that it doesn't require that much of experience. When you see a GRC analyst job position, you will see usually they don't have that much of background experience. Like in any other job, you will find you need to have 10 years of experience, 5 years of experience. Usually, you will find in this one, 1 or 2 years maximum, because it's not a skills that you can build over time. You know what I mean? It's not like a technical skills. It's something that you will learn and implement it 1 or 2 times, you are ready to do that. So it's not that complicated. Okay? So it's very suitable for people who don't have much of experience and they want to join this field. 1 or 2 years will be more than enough. When we are looking for a GRC analyst, we usually don't focus about the amount of time or previous experience. It's not really an important factor for selecting them. But what I will look for is the second point. You need to have experience with different kind of standard and regulation. So when I interview someone for a GRC analyst and I see that he worked with ISO or he got experience with ISO, with GDPR, with HIPAA, and those are in different areas. For example, GDPR is something related to a specific area, European Union, while HIPAA is related to healthcare, while PCI DSS is related to finance. So when I see that you have experience in different sectors, this is a very big advantage. That's why during this program, I'll try to cover as much standard as I can in different areas, in oil and gas, in finance, in healthcare, because this is actually your asset, knowing how to deal with different standards. I'll give you a good example. Just give me 1 second. Okay. Today, for example, okay, we get a new standard related to a project related for a new standard related to government in Saudi Arabia. The standard is called SADAYA. Okay. So when I'm looking for someone who already are, not necessarily that he implemented the standard, but he's familiar with the standard. He wrote about the standard. He can read it even. This will be a good advantage. But if I get someone already who got only experience with ISO, and then I tell him, okay, we have a new project related to Sazaya, I'm not sure that he can handle it. But if he worked with other government project in Saudi Arabia, even if it's not related specifically to this standard, I'll feel comfortable. And the good thing about cybersecurity standard is that there is a lot of similarity between the standard. So working with one will not actually will let you or will help you to work with any other standard, because the cybersecurity domains are the same. Access control, incident management, risk management, the domains are the same. But getting to learn about standard in different areas, this actually will be a very good advantage. That's why I will get you involved in 2 or 3 standards during the project. And I will show you how, if you get a new standard, how can you read it and map it with the standards that you already know. So don't focus about the year of experience. Focus more about getting familiar with more standard and more regulation to understand in each sectors what are the standards that we are following. Okay. Also, same go for the risk assessment. Risk assessment, we have different standards that we are following when it comes to risk assessment. So if you worked, for example, with ISO 27005, which is good, it's not enough. Maybe you need to be familiar with other standards like ISACA, for example. They do have their own risk management. So also to be familiar with risk assessment. And as I told you, 70% of this program will focus about risk assessment. Because honestly speaking, this is the main skills that you can get. As I told you, the compliance is not really a challenge. I'm sorry, the framework is not really a challenge. The compliance is not a challenge because we only audit. We don't get involved in the implementation. We audit only to make sure people hire GRC analysts just to audit the control and give them a report about the percentage of the alignment with the compliance or the comply with the standard. Okay. So this is actually extremely important. I highlighted on the point that you need to keep in mind because this is how you're going to be evaluated as a GRC analyst. Okay. This is actually the main point that I will focus on the program. Of course, you need to have some kind of analytic and problem solving skills. And let me explain what do I mean by analytic skills. Because to be able to evaluate the situation and to be able to evaluate the risk and to be able to evaluate or to conduct a risk assessment and implement the governance, you need to understand very well about any business. What we are doing is not really systematic in a way that I have a checklist and whenever I go somewhere, I will do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's not working like that. The way it works is that we need to understand the business very well. Those people, what exactly they are doing, what are the critical business functions they have, what is the information asset, what are the risks associated with those information asset, technical or people or process. So this is a skills that you need to build, and I try to provide you an environment that will let you build this kind of skills. We collect a lot of information from different departments to understand exactly about the business and accordingly to be able to identify the risk and eventually implement proper control. So we were going to work on that. So don't consider this GRC analyst position is something that you can follow blindly, or if you do it one time, you're going to do the same all the time. No, there is an analytical part that will differ from one place to another. Financial or banking sector is different than healthcare, is different than government, is different than private. But this we were going to practice it. So whatever I highlighted on yellow, you have to keep that in mind. Those are the things that you need to work on. And for people with you, from you guys who attended with me previous workshop or previous training, you know that it's not a traditional training where I'm explaining the concept and you listen to the concept and that's it. After a while, you're going to forget what we spoke about. But if you practice what we did, if you do that in a real environment, if you practice on the real scenarios, this is how things get memorized later on. So this is briefly about the GRC analyst. Of course, one of the things you need to keep in mind, if you're gonna plan to gain the skills and start applying for things related to GRC analyst, will be the professional certificate. Okay, and I will strongly recommend a CISA certificate, Certified Information System Auditor. I think this is relevant, or the CRISC. CRISC is one of the ISACA certificate, and all the certificate and resources and exam practice question is available on the platform. And I believe all of you are platinum, so you already have access to the certificate resources. And it's a very straightforward exam. You can take it very easily. So I will say CRISC come first, or CISA. Both of them is a professional certificate you may need to align or to qualify yourself to apply for such a position. Okay. This is the GRC analyst program. Before telling you how you're going to work and what will be the schedule and everything, do you have any question?
Dr. Otto, I have one question. Is it the same course that we had it a few weeks back?
Yes.
So I was thinking maybe something new. That's why I received the.
I was surprised to find you. You are always welcome to attend any program. You are a platinum member, but it's the same GRC analyst that we did before.
So maybe I don't have to continue.
It's up to you. If you want to attend it one more time, you are most welcome. Ibrahim, you have a question?
No, thank you. Yes.
Sure.
Hello, Dr. Latif. How are you doing?
Hi,
Good.
Ibrahim. Great, thank you.
Doctor, yes, first of all, thank you for arranging this GRC workshop. And I believe we are going to earn a lot of experience from this workshop. So, Doctor, as a GRC, I think it is important to also have soft skills like documentation, presenting the reports to the management, whether it is an audit report or the risk assessment report, whatever the risk has been identified, to a non-technical audience. Usually the GRC team is engaging with only the non-technical team to explain you have how this risk can be addressed. So I believe we can also look into this soft skill during this workshop.
100%, Samir, you're 100% right. I mean, the most of our work, I mean, for example, conducting an audit is one thing, but writing an audit report is something else. And you have to learn how to write a proper audit report. So this is something that we learn. I will share with you a lot of template. Risk assessment. Before conducting a risk assessment, we used to meet with department managers to explain how the process will go and how we will deal with the finding, and then present after we conducting the risk assessment, the results, and so on. So we need to work on our presentation skills. So whatever you raised is 100% valid. I'll share with you the resources, but it's something that you're going to have to practice from your side. What we provided for you guys, and this will be launched next Wednesday or maybe Friday, a GRC project platform, where you have a platform to get a project, do some activity or assignment, upload your work on this platform, and someone would evaluate it for you. So we said, okay, GRC, instead of keep it just discussion during the meeting, let's have a platform where people can practice that. So we added like 5 risk scenarios with all the details and all the templates, so you can practice that. We added many audit activity that you can practice it. It's more like we added the interview questions, and instead of interviewing someone, I put a document that include all the question and the department answer. And from there, I will ask you to create an audit report. So we will get you involved with all the resources, but what you mentioned is 100% right, and it's something that we will work together during the program, so you can gain the skill. You can gain the skills.
Sure. Thank you, Doctor.
All the best. Ibrahim, you are raising your hand. Do you have a question?
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Adel. Finally, I got the chance to have a live workshop. Yeah, it's been a while since I had the chance, so thank you for that. For me, I had some experience on GDPR in England when it was enforced as a law there, and some of 27,001, also some of the standards of the 2.3. Currently, also, I do some internal audits, and I think with the projects we are going to have, I think it will increase my experience, especially in doing the assessments, as mostly we have to comply with it. Usually, we have to implement, and this is the other side of it, which I'm really excited about it, to be honest.
Excellent, Ibrahim, and thank you so much for sharing your experience. Even people who got experience, I think this also will be an added value for them, because what we are trying to do here is not to be specifically related to one of the compliance. And this is very important for a GRC analyst. He cannot say that I only know how to work with ISO, or I only know how to work with GDPR. You need to be aware of the process itself, regardless of what standard or what compliance you are working for. So it's good to have you on board, because definitely this will be a good group with people who are having different kind of background. And in the same time, I'm sure that you will get involved in some of the standards that maybe you didn't work on it before, or different sector. So I hope it will go the same way you are planning or you are expecting. Okay. Any other question before we talk about how the process will go and what will be the schedule and everything? Okay. So as I told you, the program will be 10 sessions. And the reason I was delaying this program, I just wanted to have the project platform up and running. And I think you will really like the project platform, because I created different projects related to different standards, and I added all the resources. So besides the sessions that we are taking, you're gonna have somewhere where you can practice, and in the same time, you can upload your work, and someone will evaluate it, and he will tell you what needs to be done or how it should be done. Okay, so it's gonna be more as an interactive program. Our session will be always on Sunday, except what happened is when we booked the session, it conflict with another session. Okay, and this session usually working 1 week we have one session, and the second week we don't. So for example, this session today on 13, we didn't have a cybersecurity specialist, but we will have it on next week, which is going to be 20. On 27, we will not have it. So I have a small problem, a conflict between two workshops that I need to work on it. So that's why our next session will not be on 20, it will be on 27. Okay, but after 27, it will be sequential every Saturday. Okay, so only next week I need to arrange between those two workshops, because actually, due to the number of workshops, I messed up and I got two workshops in the same time. So our next session going to be on the 27th. We're going to start our first project. It will not be a project. We're going to start talking about compliance. How do we implement compliance? And we're going to take use cases and work on it. And then I'll try to arrange it to be every Sunday sequential. So this will be the timing. So next Sunday, we will not have a session, but I will not waste the time. I'm arranging with my team, so they will send you access to the new project platform. During this time, we will onboard you on the new project platform. So at least until we meet next week, you went through the project platform, you saw what we will have. You will have an idea, you're already onboarded. So once we start on 27, the first activity, at least everything is set and ready. Okay. Another point that I would like to highlight on how we're going to work. Let me show you the previous group. The workshop, the project platform that you will have access to on our LMS, this will include only the project and the operational activity where you're going to be working and you're going to be uploading the activity. And we are not enforcing this point like the cybersecurity specialist. I mean, for me, I will really suggest strongly to do all the activity in this platform because this is how you're going to get the proper skills. Okay. However, if you want to do some of them, it's up to you. I mean, for us, during this program, whatever you're going to upload, we're going to evaluate it. Okay. Besides that, we will also give you access to your own GRC program. Usually, whenever we have any live workshop, we create a folder under the name of this workshop, like GRC, for example. And here we are adding all the videos and all the resources. So everything that we're going to talk about, the template of gap assessment, the template of audit, we keep them inside the resources folder. And all the sessions that we are recording, we are keeping them here. So even if you are late in one session or something like that, all the recorded session will be here. And all it's going to be a different folder because this folder is related to another GRC group. But what I'm saying is during this week, you will have access to your own GRC folder where we are keeping all the resources, all the document and everything. Okay. So this is how the program will work. I usually do that in the first session of any workshop, just to be clear about people expectation, what we're going to do in this program, what we will end up doing. And I always say that it's all up to you guys. I mean, you can just watch the videos and that's it, which will not be very useful for you. Or you can, keep it interactive. You attend the session, you check the template, you do the relevant project from the platform. So you try to get involved in a way that you really need to learn the skills, even if you are not planning to work as a GRC analyst. Even if this is not in your mind right now, getting those skills, regardless of what cybersecurity job you are doing right now, it's definitely something useful that you need to keep in mind. So this is everything related to the program. I'm happy to answer any question you may have. And I'm really excited to start the program. The previous group was really active and I really enjoyed the sessions because it was not, traditional education way. No, people were raising issue and they say, okay, what about that? How can we do it? So it was very, very interactive. I hope this group will be the same. And that's it from my side. The session usually is around 1 hour, just to let you know. So I know that Sunday will be off, so I don't want you to waste the day. So it's not a very, very long session. And we have another communication channels you are all aware of. If anyone want to meet one-to-one or something, we can arrange that as well. Yes, someone has a question here. Let me see. Yes, Izil. I'm sorry, Samir.
Yes, doctor. Doctor, let's say that if we need to do a gap assessment for any type of compliance, let's say that I'm based actually in Saudi. So currently the Saudi has enforced the PDPL privacy law, and let's say that organization needs to make sure that it is complied. And for us as a cybersecurity specialist and the GRC team, the first step we need to do the gap assessment. That uh, what controls are we missing? What privacy policies are we missing? So how do we get started with this?
This will be a part of our activity. I mean, we do have a gap assessment that we're going to do for ISO 27001, where we write down all the controls and we write down, an explanation of each control because this gap assessment needs to be sent to each department. And then we validate. We sit with each department, check all applicable control, and check, are those control fully implemented or partially implemented or not implemented. This is usually the first step in any standard project. PCI, ISO, PDPL, SAMA, any project. And by the way, we are getting a lot of projects from Saudi Arabia. So, it's good that you raise this question, but I will show you how we are doing that. And this will be within the first or second lecture. I will show you how the process is done. But we need to validate, even if we are sure that none of the control are implemented, we still need to conduct the gap assessment at the beginning, because it shows the role and responsibility. And I have the gap assessment template that you can use in different kind of project, specifically in standard and compliance. So we will go to this point, Samir, don't worry.
Sure. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Izil, you have a question?
Good afternoon, Dr. Atef. Happy to see you back again in the class.
Thank you. Same here.
So I got two questions for you. The first one is an easy one. I couldn't understand because I guess my speakers kind of get staticked up. What ISACA certifications did you say would be beneficial to us in this position?
Getting a certificate, I always say that it's very, very important for our business, okay? But you need to get the relevant certificate. So for a GRC analyst, what are the relevant certificates? We have two certificates. You can select one of them, or if you get both of them, it's fine. We have the ISACA C risk. Okay, there is a certificate related to risk and compliance called ISACA C risk. And this is actually available on our platform. And since you are all have access to this, so you should have full free access to all the resources. The second one is the ISACA CISA certificate, Certified Information Security System Auditor. Both of them are relevant to the tracks that we are taking. So once we finish the track, I will suggest to consider getting one of the certificates that reflect that you have the skills needed for a GRC analyst. That's my point. But one more time, the certificate is only to prove your knowledge. It's not the one that will get you the job. You know what I mean? It's just going to get you to the interview. But to get the job, you need to get the skills that we will learn in the program.
So you're saying it's the CRISC one?
C-risk. ISACA C-risk.
Yeah. Okay. And then my second question, while I have you on, believe it or not, the first part of your other workshop helped me get a job in the financial services, and I work in the risk and compliance and governance area. So I'm trying to see, would this course be more beneficial to me in the financial services as far as reporting on the financial risk, on thresholds and stuff of that nature?
First of all, congratulations and thank you so much for sharing that. I mean, I really am glad for you and wish you all the best. Actually, this is very relevant to your current position. You are working in the compliance area, in the GRC. So I think this will be very relevant to what you are doing right now. And some of the standards that we're going to be working on it is related to the financial sector. So I think you may, get some additional knowledge to that, and it could be an added value to what you are doing right now.
Okay, thanks.
All the best. Okay, guys, any other question?
Yes, Dr. Mohammed. Sorry to bother you with all the questions here. Yeah, for me, I'm technically IT manager in Saudi, also same as Samir, I think. And my plan is to change my career path to security. So my plan is to get as certified information security auditor and risk plus CISM. But I think with CISM, the modules is a bit different because it contains also the BCP planning and disaster recovery planning. But with the risk, with this training, I think it will prepare me for these two exams, then I can move on, right? On the next one.
Yes, but Ibrahim, because you raised two different topics, okay?
Yeah.
The GRC part is different than the disaster recovery and cyber resilience, and this is different people responsibility. We do have a workshop for that. I mean, you can get involved here and there. It doesn't have any conflict. And we have a new cybersecurity specialist workshop that we started, I believe, yesterday. What we are doing in this program is mainly related to governance, implementing standard, complying with the standard, identifying risk, but it doesn't involve any technical requirement. Of course, your background as an IT manager is a very, very valuable background. It's usually, or it's going to be very useful in any track you're going to take in cybersecurity. Okay. But the second point that you are talking about related to business continuity and cyber resilience and disaster recovery and so on, it's more or involve more technical requirement because you're going to learn how to conduct business impact analysis and do a restoration testing and restoration planning. And so it's a different area that may not be covered here.
Okay.
However, I don't mind after finishing the program, if any of the technical topic would you like you or the team to discuss how it's done, I don't mind. I'm not really will stick with this specific program, but I do have a very clear objective about this program. But once we finish, if any of you need to know about specific technical skills related to another cybersecurity job, I don't mind. I can do a session for that. Or I can guide you for some additional resources that may help you on that. But the disaster recovery part is not something that we will cover in the job descriptions. That's why I told you I will send to all of you guys the job description by email, just to understand exactly what are we going to cover. But we are flexible to cover any other topic, but we will clearly say this is not a part of the GRC analyst subject.
I think for me, I will start here because I want to learn how to properly create a gap, also working on risk assessments and all that, just to make sure that I have a solid foundation and then I can move on to the next one. But I'm happy to learn a lot. So yeah.
Definitely. And I like your idea not to overload yourself at the beginning. I think this will be to focus on topic by topic. So you finish this program first and then you see what will be the next step. So I think this is very smart to consider.
Thank you. Thank you, Doctor.
Okay, guys, any other question? Okay. Thank you so much, and really looking forward. Our next session will not be on 20, will be on 27. However, the upcoming days, please check your email because you will get access to the GRC project platform. And I will send, this will be sent from my support team, but I will send you another email with everything that we spoke about, with the job description, everything that you need to have in mind before we start the program. So we will focus specifically about those skills. Thank you so much, guys, and see you next time.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor.
Doctor, one last question, if possible.